space friends. This week I'm talking about disco balls in space. It's not a space-time warp or some weird ball sent over to us from a mirror universe, but instead it's a 65-panel, highly reflective ball that was sent into space by a commercial space company. That company is Rocket Lab, with a launch site in New Zealand, and they're trying to make space exploration more accessible, or at least more accessible for more satellite launches. The 3-foot wide carbon ball is called the Humanity Star, and it was developed by Rocket Lab's founder, Peter Beck, in hopes that it would inspire humanity to think about our fragile place in the universe. But this admittedly seems at odds with the choice of form and lack of function of the Humanity Star itself. Peter Beck himself actually admits that the inspiration for the Humanity Star didn't come from our pale blue dot, but actually came from iridium flares, the bright flashes of light that human-made satellites make as they orbit the Earth and the sun bounces off of them. That is causing some annoyance for astronomers that already have their observations sometimes obscured by passing satellites that are unintentionally strobe lights. There's also the fact that we have an incredibly inspiring human-made thing in our night sky already, the International Space Station, which regularly houses astronauts in it. It's incredible that you can see it with your naked eye in a city or out in the country or wherever, and if you haven't done it yet, I definitely recommend it. I didn't used to know that you could actually see the International Space Station with your naked eye, and you totally can. There are endless apps and websites out there that will help you track down where it will appear and what times it will appear, and if you haven't done it yet, please definitely try it. Essentially, all this is to say is that putting a physical blink tag in space leaves a lot to be desired. Art, just like science, should be exploratory. If you're interested in art in space, I did an entire video about art satellites that you should definitely check out, including my personal fave, ArtSat-2, which was a 3D printed sculpture which was sent into deep space that actually generated poetry about its experience in deep space, which is incredibly cool. I also dive into Planet Labs satellites, one of which actually launched on this Rocket Lab rocket. But the cool thing about Planet Labs is that they have an entire artist in residence program where they actually employ full-time professional artists to do awesome things with their satellites. As a one-off, the Humanity Star is probably fine. This disco is dead in about 9 months, by which I mean the Humanity Star itself is going to burn up in the atmosphere in 9 months, so it's not creating more space junk, which is good. But as a trend, there's cause for concern because we are living in the era of billionaires sending their cars into space for lulz and commercial companies increasingly making entire areas of the sky inaccessible to radio telescopes due to their transmissions. There's also other people who are looking to create even more reflective surfaces in space, which could be a real problem for any observations with optical telescopes. Overall, I think it's fabulous to experiment and try new things in space, and I think that's definitely what's needed. But in their quest to make space more accessible, I hope a lot of these commercial companies actually consider how they might be actually making space inaccessible for others in their quest. And so in that way, please do experiment in space, but also be considerate of others as you're exploring our universe. The Humanity Star definitely achieved its goal of making us think about all of our fragile places in the universe, but probably not as it originally intended to. That's it for me this week, space friends. Leave a comment this week with what sort of artwork you would send into space if you had been given the chance. And remember to subscribe on YouTube and join Patreon, and I'll see you next time.